and Guidry goes, let's go look at something that took place 40 years ago. Who cares? Okay, that's political.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. From IBM TV, that is International Broadcast Media, welcome to the Lawyer's Den for another exciting, kind of cranky, maybe, I don't know, but we have a bunch of people here who are going to be discussing some things, and I hope make you laugh, I hope make you smile, and I hope we think about some things. So where is my co-host and friend? Nick, are you out there somewhere?
I am, and I also bring my own fan club with me. So the thing is, somebody has to do it, Bill. You know, and I get things done. You know that, right? Okay. So just because I get things done doesn't mean that we're getting anything done here today. So are we going to move to find who our panelists are today?
Sure, absolutely, Nick. Because I think we have a surprise somewhere down the line, but I think the surprise might be last time I got to draft.
Okay. All right. We'll do our introductions for this round of the Lawyer's Den, and I just go according to the board that they're on, and the first board comes in from the University of Southern California, otherwise known as the other USC. By the way, if you're from the South, Bill, USC, everyone knows the University of South Carolina. Just to clarify for the record, counselor. Then he went on to the Ohio State University, Colden Columbus, because he got admitted, which is amazing. Then after that, he received his LLM, which is a master's in law, which is above a law degree. Most people don't know that, and a lot of people say, well, it's kind of a waste of time. You know, it's extra education you don't need. And it just proves that there are some people out there that are educated beyond their intelligence. And then he went on to teach at Georgia College. And let's be nice and give it up for our friend, the Professor Adam Lamparero. Adam,
thanks, Nick. How you doing? Great to be here.
Yes, I don't know why you said that, but anyway, that's okay. Because the thing is, lawyers are good at fudging the truth. But okay, with that, we have another gentleman who's arrived from New York City. He went to the State University of New York in Albany. Then he made a quick trip back to the Big Banana, now known as the Big Apple, our street fighter who practices law in New York City, if that's even possible. Let's give it up for the street fighter, Fernando Leal.
Hey, everybody. Nice to be here. And it's SUNY Buffalo, not SUNY Albany. Buffalo. Albany's a private school.
Oh. All right. It's one of those schools on the other side of the world. SUNY Buffalo. Anyway, he shuffled off to Buffalo. Now we have another attorney, and this one is new to the den, and she went to Suffolk Law School in Massachusetts, was it? Anyway, the thing is, we'd like to bring the new person into the den, Linda Duque. I mispronounced her name, but welcome to the den. How do you pronounce your last name?
Thank you for having me. My name's Linda Dubuque, and I am hailing from Boston, where the Patriots have been reigning, and where everyone knows that it was the Patriots offense that just won that Super Bowl under another title or another facade, if you will. But everyone knows it was a Patriots offense that just won the Super Bowl.
Okay. Since I'm from Tampa, Florida, we'll discuss that later on in the show, since Tampa has become the new city of champions, and I believe that Boston, or whatever you call yourself, New England, didn't even make it into the playoffs. But with that, we'll get into that later on in the program. Also, I'm a professor at Northeastern University. I don't know if that means anything. I teach at the graduate tax program for 10 years. But anyway, the thing is, with that, we're going to bring in the final person today for the Lawyer's Den.
No, Nick, we have two on deck.
Wow.
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, we got two more. Yeah, I had to go down and look at the deck here. Okay. I'm going to pull an ace out of the hole here. That would be pretty interesting. Right. Anyway, this person went to BYU University. Then he also received an LLM from George Washington University, a scholar who actually got me admitted before the United States Supreme Court. Let's bring in our favorite scholar, Jeff Teicher. Jeff, welcome back. to the Lawyer's Den.
Welcome, Linda, to the panel, and I love Tom Brady too.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think Tom Brady did one good thing. He made sure Tampa Bay now is known as the City of Champions, and Boston is still Bean Town. Okay, but we'll get into that later on in the program. In the meantime, we have class at the Lawyer's Den, believe it or not. This lady hails from Lithuania, which is a foreign country if people don't know. It's a Baltic state way over on the other side of the world. Then she went to the University of Denver, another university I went to receive her Juris Doctorate in law. But like a lot of people on the Den, minus one person we're not going to discuss, she actually went and received a master's in law from the University of Denver, now practices in Florida, and we have to bring in class to the Lawyer's Den. Let's bring in Guidry Stantonay. Guidry, welcome to the show. Glad to have you back. Notice we have some diversity here finally.
I know. I'm very pleased to see you.
Yeah. I mean,
likewise. Nice to meet you.
With that, let's see. We've got to eliminate somebody to make sure there's 6 people on. Let's see who I don't like. Oh, there's Adam. No, we can't do that. Okay, but
No, Nick.
No, I can't eliminate you, Bill. I was thinking about that, but we also need to introduce you.
As we go through our discussion, things are going to be cool because now we're going to be doing a lot of minus me screens. But
okay, all right. Well, anyway, you'll figure it out, and then of course we have our Den master, who heads up the Lawyer's Den. Let's give a warm welcome to Bill Trezevant, the Den master who keeps track of all the lawyers and the topics. And frankly, what are the topics today? What are we discussing today on the Den?
Well, we are going to get into the main topic, and it's going to be a controversial one. And it's a bit tough for people to kind of swallow or discuss, but we have, I have faith in all of us, and that is this. Look, tonight it is racism versus police brutality. Is there really a difference? And by way of preface for our audience, I guess the question is simply this. It's been on the minds of Americans. It was a subject of protest, Black Lives Matter, and then we had Blue Lives Matter. But for some reason, we cannot get our heads around what is fair, what's not fair. So we had the recent investigation report from the kid that was just walking home from the store that was approached by police, then essentially some would argue euthanized with a sedative, and then ended up, because he did nothing wrong. And so the question is that police brutality? Is that racial profiling? Is that unfair? Or is it true, as some others might argue in a school of thought, saying that we need safe streets and that the police are our heroes? Now, I know that's a tough subject, and you in the audience know I'm going to go around the horn and we're going to do whatever. But right now, I'd like to go to Linda because I want to make sure that I do a proper welcome. Linda, can I just get you and me, for a moment? Yes. Young lady. Welcome. Yes. Right. Now, I want to make sure that I bring you into the Lawyer's Den properly.
Okay.
And first, you might be from Boston, Massachusetts, but people, I don't want you to be pigeonholed. You did your undergrad where?
Whittier.
Whittier what?
Whittier College.
And where is that?
In Los Angeles, California. It's a suburb of LA.
So you left, arguably, Massachusetts, the cradle of liberty, and went to LA. Seeking fame, fortune, and went to Whittier, right?
Seeking warmth, because I'm not a fan of winter.
Right. Okay.
Pretty much, that's the reason.
Okay. And so, how's the weather now without a Super Bowl and without
freezing? It is absolutely freezing outside. I thought it was going to be in the 50s. It's in the 30s.
Wow. Okay, but right now, you have hot thoughts on this topic, don't you?
Well, I can see, I try to put myself in the shoes of other people. you know. And, you know, I'm a government worker right now. Okay. And so I see how government works. And I witnessed a budget season where they wanted to defund the police. And the city councilor from the worst neighborhood absolutely did not want the police to be defunded, as a fair number of folks wanted in the city, because they felt like when something serious goes down, they want the police to show up. They don't want a social worker showing up when somebody is giving someone else a beat down.
Okay, so suffice to say, you're in favor of police.
I am absolutely in favor of police.
This is opening round. Okay, so you're
in favor of police. Okay. I am pro police.
All right, Guidry, I'm coming to you, and then Adam, Fernando, and Jeff, and Nick. I'm pulling you up off the background, but Guidry, well, there you are, Nick. So, Guidry, Nick. All right, well, fine.
Well, I would agree with Linda. I am absolutely pro-police, but I do think that there is a need for systematic change. It's not about bad apples anymore. We have to have a unified approach to what has been happening. And I do not believe that police should be defunded. I think that the funding should be increased for the officers to be vetted prior to hiring, for the officers to be trained, for the officers to have access to the therapy. I think a lot of needs to be done. But what a coincidence, if I may say, earlier today, President Biden demonstrated his support to a new bill that is called George Floyd Justice in Policing Act. And I am very optimistic of that bill. I like the bill because it addresses some facts that I'm also proponent of, particularly of kind of trying to diminish the qualified immunity, which I think became a big, literally free out of jail card for the police officers.
Yeah, please.
Jeff, mute.
I have mixed feelings about this. I'm going to endorse the statistics that Adam's about to share. We haven't talked before, but I know this speech. He's given it several times, and the statistics don't lie. So I think it's inflammatory to make racism a bigger issue than it is. Having said that, I was in law school when the riots occurred in Los Angeles after the acquittal of the police officers that gave Rodney King the beatdown. And it was a brilliant piece of criminal defense work that his attorneys did to get that acquittal, or that the police officers did to get that acquittal. The black community in Los Angeles didn't buy it, and they set the city on fire because there is a massive perception in the black community that a black person can't get justice, that police brutality is tolerated. And, you know, I've known enough black people and have enough black friends that say, look, when we are out and about, we have to teach our children what to do when they're approached by a police officer. Make sure both your hands are on the wheel. Make sure, because there is a perception among many police that black people are more dangerous. I don't like that. Is there a difference between police brutality and racism? Well, yeah, of course. I know there's police brutality that's inflicted on people of other races as well. But there is a perception in the black community, and I don't think it's entirely unfounded that cops are racist against them.
I know, Jeff. Remember, these are opening things, and I got two more people I got to get to because I got to go from my ratings to Adam, and then Nick. I'm coming to you, and then we can get into the scrum. Okay, so Adam, Fernando, and then Nick. Adam, please, your turn.
First, 95% of fatal police shootings involve suspects who are armed. In 2018, the number of African Americans who were unarmed shot by police out of the millions of encounters with police, less than 30. We are making the issue of racism way overblown. Number two, the notion of institutional or systemic racism is absolute nonsense. It's been over 40 years since the Voting Rights Act, since the Civil Rights Act, since affirmative action, which was held to be constitutional in Bakke and reaffirmed in Grutter and Gratz as constitutional, and Fisher. We have made incredible strides. Number three, the issues facing the African-American community and all communities have nothing to do with police brutality. They have to do with single parenthood. They have to do with communities. That's a fact. Let's talk about the tough issues and get to real solutions.
Okay. Fernando, and then Nick. Fernando, please. Remember, opening, so Mike, Fernando, but
got it.
Opening statements, and then we can get into the scrum. And then Nick, please, don't embarrass me, but Fernando, go ahead, please.
Not a shocker here. I am pro-police. I am pro-patrolling the streets. I am pro not eliminating their funding and defunding police. I am not for social workers showing up anywhere to give some criminal a hug. Most of these encounters happen because people are doing bad things, whether they like to admit to it or not. And listen, you're doing something bad, you should get clubbed like a baby seal, cuffed, and taken to jail. Pretty simple.
Nick, please. Oh, cutting the edge, but Nick, please.
It's amazing. Once again, both Adam and Fernando are wrong, and of course they live in their own form of la la land. You know, I mean, to just deny that the thing is racism in the police force doesn't exist means you haven't watched television lately. But here's one of the big systemic problems that neither one of them address. It's the famous case Jordan versus the City of New London. You know, yes, you cannot discriminate between race. You cannot discriminate on gender, you cannot discriminate on sex, but you can discriminate, according to Jordan versus the City of New London. If you're a police officer with an IQ over 128, you're not allowed to be on the police force. Well, guess what that gets you? A bunch of dumb policemen. So the thing is, who passed it? Well, it was Fernando's bar, his circuit. It was the Second Circuit Court of Appeals affirming the case out of Connecticut, and it is basically precedent throughout the entire United States. So the reason you see dumb acts by policemen is because they're dumb people, and the reason they're dumb people, smart people aren't allowed on the police force. So you get what you get, you bought and you paid for it, until you lawyers get together and say, we got to overturn Jordan versus the City of New London. This is going to continue, and Adam's idea that single women are going to make a change just isn't going to happen. It's the court system, and also it's our government system.
But I'm right.
Okay, no, Adam, please, because we're going to pay some attention to Linda right now. Linda, club a seal or a police dumb? Which one is it, Linda, the way you see it? Club a seal or a police or dumb? Linda, please.
Well, I'm at a loss. I'm at a loss for words right now. I have to be honest with you. Club a seal, I really didn't expect anything like that to be said, so I'm a little thrown for a loop. Police are dumb. One idea that I've always had, and I thought it was a good idea, but it hasn't really been adopted throughout the country, is why not require like at least a bachelor's degree to be a police officer? You know, is that such a bad idea?
No, I don't know. Guidry, is that such a bad idea? You know, yeah.
I do think that this industrialized requirement for people to study at the universities and to be more indebted to the society, it's not very necessary. However, I do think that the teaching of the police officer should be different. So right now, for instance, one of the most famous training programs is produced by a man called Grossman. And that program is called Bulletproof Mind, Bulletproof Warrior. It teaches the officers shoot. It says the Grossman, the mastermind of this most popular program used by the police institutions, he said himself that it is a human nature to kill a human being. Therefore, the training specifically focuses on training the police officers to not to have any problem and doubt when it comes to shooting a human being. And it also starts, of course, is saying that people, us, everyone, are very dangerous, that every moment of the police officer could be the last moment. And it is definitely unsubstantiated with the data, but I do think that training should be different.
But isn't it true that every moment of a police officer could be the last moment? And, you know, they don't have much time to think. And if you're presented with a weapon, if a weapon is being pointed at you, it's kill or be killed. So I think the training might be spot on.
Linda, if I may to respond, there are 16 other professions that, according to the labor institution, are more dangerous when it comes to split-second decision making. And there is also new empirical data that says that those traffic stops, that actually the whole propaganda about the super danger and 1 second instantaneous decision-making necessity is actually not accurate. It says that 1 in thousands, hundreds of thousands frisk and stop searches, police officers are being assaulted. So I do agree that the police officer's job is dangerous. However, I still think that there is a big fault, big hole that needs to be filled in when it comes to the training. It should not be trained to shoot.
Okay, Jeff, and then Adam, and then Fernando. I'm coming back to you, and Nick, you are on deck. So Jeff, Adam, Fernando, and Adam, please don't interrupt when you're angry. Jeff, right.
Adam cited the statistic that 95%. I believe that was the number of police shootings resulted when the other fatal police shootings resulted when someone they were trying to apprehend had a weapon. And so I think we have to be really careful about second guessing people in the rarefied atmosphere of a courtroom that are out there on the street and dealing with a much more hostile environment. And so I think we need to be really careful about that. Should police have a bachelor's degree? Well, maybe in an ideal world, it's going to mean you're going to have to pay them a lot more, and there's going to be a smaller pool from which to recruit. And so are you going to have enough police officers under that system? I don't know. Tell me where it's been tried. Maybe it's feasible, but I'm open-minded for that. I also believe that we need to get back to community-based policing. One of the things that Chief Daryl Gates, not necessarily a hero, but one of the things that he said that I connected with was that the police car had taken the police off the beat and sort of away from the people. And we do need to get back to community-based policing where the cops know the people on their beat, and they've got people feeding them information, and they've got support in the community that I don't think they have right now. And I think that's especially bad in the Black community. I think the LA riots were an example of that. I think a lot of the unrest following George Floyd's death also is indicative of that. So a lot to do, and it's got to be done on a city-by-city basis. As we know, that's where police administration occurs. But that's right. What I think.
Okay, Jeff, listen, well, thank you. And Adam, I want to come to you, but I want to ask you this thing. And it's a question just occurred to me after Jeff raised this, that we'd have to pay police more. It seems to me that if we are giving over the split-second authority over life and death to an individual with a gun who rolls in, shouldn't we require a bachelor's degree, and or should we pay them more? I mean, literally, if I'm going to, give a guy a gun, say, hey, you have the right to show up at a house and then decide who's going to live or die, whether or not he's got a sandwich, a cell phone, or, a dog in his arm, and I'm going to kill him over that, then shouldn't I expect him to have a bachelor's degree, and don't I want to pay him more? Because maybe he's just having a bad day. Maybe he can't make the rent. And so he takes it out on me and I get shot. Adam, what do you think?
No and no. And I'd like to speak directly to the African-American community. Police brutality is not the problem. 95% of shootings involved armed suspects. Less than 30 African Americans in 2018 were shot when they were unarmed. The real problem, and you can read it in Daniel Patrick Moynihan's 1964 report, the real problem is single parenthood, which leads to poverty, which leads to delinquency, which leads to higher dropout rates in high school, which leads to higher dropout rates in college. There's a community problem and a cultural problem. And unless we address these tough issues, we can talk about police all we want. And Guidry can insult the police all she wants, but that's not the problem. That's not going to solve a thing in the African American community. Let's talk about the real issues facing African Americans so we can actually effectuate meaningful change.
Okay, well, Adam, that was an unfair shot at Guidry because she didn't say that.
It was a truthful shot.
Oh, well, all right. Well, then I'm going to come back to Guidry. Guidry, make notes because I'm going to give you
I'd like to hear Guidry address these issues.
Well,
hang on. No, that's cool. Fernando and Nick, please. Fernando, please. You're in New York City. You're pro-gun, pro-Second Amendment. I need you to turn off your mic. And then.
It's on.
All right, fine. Fernando, please. Then I'm coming to you, Nick.
Yeah. I don't know what these 16 jobs that are more dangerous than a police officer and require split-second decisions. I'm going to take a hunch. Some of them don't involve getting shot at when you show up to the scene. Some of them may be things like construction work, where, yes, you have to make a split-second decision as to where to step so you don't fall off a beam and die. And, go to a personal injury attorney who is going to make your family a lot of money. Remember that out there in TV land.
Yeah.
Again, we have Nick bringing up Jordan versus Kinetic.
No,
Hold on, I'm not done.
No, we don't know what Nick's going to say. Nick can speak.
No, he said it before. He brought it up during his initial statement and saying that all the dummies are up in the north and blah, blah, blah. Honestly, Jordan helps the South because that's where you get most of these toothless yokels who are stepping on the necks of Black people or dragging them behind their cars. What Linda has proposed in terms of a bachelor degree and community policing, what Jeff has stated, that happens here in New York City. Cops in New York City are required to have at least 32 college credits before they join the force. I forgot which police commissioner it was, got the cops out of their patrol cars and walking through neighborhoods such as Harlem, Washington Heights, where I'm from, and other areas of the city. Has it reduced some of the incidents? Yes, but by the same token, you still have them because now they know who's standing on the corner selling Lucy's, who's standing on the corner selling nickel bags. And now that you get a little bit more confrontation at times. And like I said at the beginning, you're doing bad things. This is what leads to these issues. If you're going to resist arrest, there's going to be a problem. You're going to get shot. You're going to die. Something's going to happen.
Yeah, all right, well, fine. If I'm just walking down the street doing my own thing and I end up dead anyway. Nick, seriously?
Yeah, here we go.
No, I get it, Fernando. Nick, what are you thinking?
Well, of course, Adam is in left field. Maybe that's the reason they call him leftist. And Guidry's spot on correct. I mean, it's not even close. I mean, I don't know if Adam, does he watch what's going on in his world? I know he sits in the Tower of Power as a professor at Georgia College, but come on, there's some things out there that you just got to see. This George Floyd thing, this person's on his neck for 8.5 minutes. Come on, and all the people around him said, "Hey, that's okay." If you had an IQ over 100, which I don't think any of those people could pass an IQ over a 100 test, which means they would never get a college degree, that they would have said, "Hey, look, you can't stand on somebody's neck for 8.5 minutes." Now, here's another issue. Well, it's all single mothers' fault. It's their marital status. Well, how many of you people have seen a white person sit on a white person's neck for 8.5 minutes? Anywhere.
Exactly.
Anywhere. I've never seen it. Or when they took down the dude that has an asthma attack and they just pummeled him until he died. When did you ever see? Just show me one video anywhere in the world that a white person did that to a white person, and then we can talk. But I haven't seen anything. Okay, and of course Adam, he completely ignores it and says, "Oh, it's the single mother marital status is the problem." And that's absolutely not true. What the problem is, we have a training, we have a serious systemic problem, and the court system did not help. And I'm all in favor of what Guidry said, and fine. I oppose what Adam says.
No, fine. Guidry, I'm coming to you. Guidry, you're next, and Linda, I'm coming to you. And people, we need to move this fast. Guidry, you're up because Nick. I mean, I can't even believe Nick said that you were right because Nick doesn't agree with you.
it never happens. At least someone is right with me, you know, once in a while. But I think I have a serious issue with Adam's empirical data use, that 95% of, you know, the number that he has been keeping throwing up here. The problem with it is, and I wonder where did you get that number, is that even Department of Justice stopped collecting the database for all of the incidents that included someone being killed based on the police action because police departments were not reporting it. So how those incidents were reported, documented, where voluntarily the police department has to do so. There were no incentives on doing so. And also, actually, contrary, Adam, there is enough evidence right now showing that the police officers somehow try to exaggerate or not to tell certain details in their reports. And one fact is interesting to know why we needed four times try to push body camera for the police officers to be mandatory to wear. Why they did not want to agree to that? Because they did not want certain things to be seen. And even after that, there were instances, and numerous instances, when police officers approaching a suspect would turn the cameras off. So, but contrary to that, I will tell really quickly another piece of statistic that was issued by the Statistic Analytics that says in 1 million, 30 African Americans are being killed by the police in comparison to 12 in every million of white people. When it comes to Hispanic, I think it is 24 in 1 million. So I do think that there is some racial profiling that needs to be addressed, but that could be addressed in training.
Okay.
This is such a deliberate distortion of my opinion and of the facts.
Adam,
Objection, counselor. He's out of order.
Objection.
Yeah.
Really?
You know, Adam, I mean, I had faith in you.
Don't fall for it, audience.
All right, mute. Listen, Linda, and then Jeff, and then Adam. I was going to come to you anyway, but you know, Linda, please, and then Jeff, I'm coming to you, and then Adam. Yes, I'm coming to you. But Adam, don't get upset. Linda?
The community policing, I am in total favor of. However, going from, say, automobiles to bikes isn't going to work. You really need people who are walking around. Now, that said, when police end up knowing people in the community, maybe that familiarity gives them some sense of entitlement, if you will. Like in the George Floyd case, there was some I read some things that said that those two individuals, the police officer who kneeled on his neck, and some reports say 9.5 minutes, that they may have known each other from a nightclub where they both happened to work at the same time. So I wonder, did they really know each other? Another thing, in the late 80s and early 90s, when I was in college in even a suburb of LA, everyone was afraid of the police. No matter what color you were very careful about driving. And I would have to say that every time I drove out there, and I wasn't, much of a speeder, but I was pulled over because I had license plates that weren't California. Like, say I had rented a car. So getting pulled over in those foreign state plates by the police, not a very comfortable feeling, especially when you're coming off of an experience where everyone that you went to school with was afraid of the police. I really would like to know what these 16 jobs are. I'm very interested in researching that.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I really want to know, what are these jobs that are like more dangerous than having a gun put in your face? That's really
I found
what I
10 of them.
know.
None of them involve guns.
Okay, so any job that's like more dangerous that doesn't involve a gun, what, you're going to lose your finger? You're doing a traffic stop? I mean, what's more dangerous than a gun in your face?
Okay, Linda,
I don't know. I'm asking. I really don't know.
I know, and I don't know either, but I hope Jeff has an answer. And then Adam, I promise I'm coming to you. So, I mean, Jeff, please, earphone, mic, Jeff, please. And then Adam, I'm coming to you. So, all right, Jeff.
So I don't have an answer on those 16 jobs that are more dangerous. Fernando just said he looked it up, so I'll look forward to him taking the burden of that and explaining to us. I will say I agree with Gadri on body cams. If I'm a cop, I want the body cam. I believe it's going to give me cover if there's an incident and something is questioned or I'm accused, that the video footage will give me protection. So I think that ought to be a no-brainer idea. I think the cops should want it. I think people on the street should want it. I think we should all want it because it's going to at least assist us in resolving what really happened in any incident that occurs. So that's number one. I've already talked about community-based policing, and I think most of us are on board with that. I will defend Adam in one respect. I do think the Black community has issues it's got to address. And one of the biggest problems in and out of the Black community in America is fatherless homes. It's an increasing problem, and the statistics about academic performance, social problems, crime, and other things are just astronomically higher in a fatherless home. So I think, yes, we've got to address all that, but how does it affect law enforcement today? Now, Adam thinks the problem of racism is overblown, and maybe that's true, but perception becomes reality. And I think the people in LA back during the Rodney King trial didn't burn down their city because they believed that there was no problem. I believe they did it because they honestly believed that a Black man couldn't get a fair shake in a dispute with the cops, and they believed that jury verdict against the 4 white police officers that beat the tar out of Rodney King proved it. They said,
No, Jeff.
What more do we need?
I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry, Jeff. But yeah, it did prove it. I'm sorry. I just couldn't sit on the sideline there. Before Adam, because I'm so going to set this up for you. Adam, first I need you to have the mic off and ready, and I just need to cue you up. And that is this, that when we are now talking about racism and police brutality, is there a difference or everything else? We have a testimonial from Linda who said it was her license plate, and she's white from Massachusetts and got pulled over in Los Angeles. Now, are the police just that dumb, as Nick indicated, because the law says they can't be that smart? Or how are you making, because we have Boston up here, and they love themselves some Tea Party and riots and revolutions and stuff. But Adam, your turn, because now we have a white person being pulled over by the very same police in California, in LA, that beat up that Black man. Adam?
Of course, there's a difference between police brutality and racism. And of the many problems confronting the African American community and all communities, police brutality is way down on the list. African Americans make up 13% of the population. They are responsible for almost 40% of murders. The overwhelming majority of African Americans are killed by other African Americans. 70% of African American children grow up in fatherless families. That leads to a cycle of poverty and delinquency. Those are the facts. Democratic Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan laid this out in great detail. Don't get seduced by Guidry's ideology. Don't get seduced by her manipulation of the facts. These are the facts, and we have to address single parenthood. We have to build up communities, because you know what? If we really care about being anti-racist, if we really care about African Americans, then we should be about empowerment, not enslavement.
Okay, fine. Adam, look, Nick, I'm coming to you, but Adam, I just have to point something out to you. Look, that commission, the report that for our audience that Adam keeps citing, was published in 1967. Now, I was born in 1968. That report that he's citing, as if it's yesterday, is now 53 years old. And
it's an enduring document.
No, hang on. Adam, just let it go. Now, Nick, I'm coming to you, and Guidry, I'm coming to you so that you can defend yourself from Adam's scurrilous accusations. So, Nick, Guidry, and then Linda, please.
Oh, wow. I mean, the thing is, talk about the ultimate deflection. Adam Lamparero, let's go talk about, look, that's not even what's before us today, counselor. It's race and the police. We're not here to talk about economic equality and single family and marital status. We're trying to talk about race in the police and what they do right and what they do wrong and why do they do it wrong. And the thing is, like I said, it's empirically evident, counselor, and simple to see. All you have to do is watch the videos and you can see this, and your eyes are aghast. You're going like, wait a minute, I would like to see when somebody like Linda, did they bring out the batons and start beating you with sticks when you were in LA? Probably not, didn't they? They said, well, we pulled you over and you didn't have a valid driver's license. They beat you with a stick. Why? Well, that's what they do when they have subhuman IQs, because they go, well, I didn't know it would kill him if I'm sitting on his neck. I mean, is that going to be the defense in George Floyd? I didn't know it's going to kill him if I'm sitting on his neck for 8.5 minutes. How could he be so bloody stupid? It's because they are stupid. And so the thing is, I totally agree with Guidry. She has an intelligent and class aspect to this. We need to have an educated police force, and that's what we're talking about. We're talking about the police being educated and behaving properly. We're not talking about single family homes and the economic inequality. That's a subject for another debate later. Adam, please, counselor, look at the issue before you. Don't jump into something out in left field and start deflecting into that area.
All right, Guidry, Linda, and Fernando, you're up. But Guidry, please, because you and Nick are having a love fest right now, and I don't know what is. Did he give you the flowers behind your desk? Because I don't know where this is coming from. But go ahead, Guidry.
And I'm loving it. I'm loving it to have Nick in my corner. Feels very nice. I'm sure it's not going to last for long, but I'm enjoying it while it's here. So I do think that Adam is dodging the bullet. I will echo what Nick said. There are a lot of societal problems that are spilling over to multiple layers of our community. However, I really still think that we need to address the police in general in the United States. I think police unions have too much power. I'm definitely against them. I think there is a lot of insight, regulation and manipulation of data, what we see and what happens. I think about it. From 100% of all of the complaints against the police that are caused by the police brutality, only 7% of all of those complaints are being addressed in one or another way. Meaning that 93% of all of the complaints that are being done against the police are being completely ignored or buried. And another thing to know, if someone wants to make a complaint against the police, that person needs to go to the police station and needs to talk to the police officer. And based on certain information, articles that I managed to read really quickly before this discussion, there is a big practice or encouragement within the police stations to really try to change that person's mind, meaning that when that complaint leaves the station, it's already being addressed. There are institutions that are going to address it. But before that signature is done on the complaint, the police still can manipulate the person into not filing it. And that is an issue. When it comes to social workers accompanying police, I think it's a brilliant idea. Right now, even we have a special unit. That's a unit of the police that addresses instances of cases, particularly mental issues, ADHD issues, that definitely need I think I need a professional, but that's a separate thing.
Okay. Linda, and then Jeff.
Yes.
Well, please, Linda.
I just take issue with.
No. Did they have billy clubs out when they pulled you over in California?
Oh, when I got pulled over. So I was in the fast lane, going along with the traffic,
Linda,
moving with the traffic. And I'm the only one that got pulled over. And I'm convinced it's because I didn't have a California license plate on the rent-a-car that I was driving. So
because you're white.
So I don't know what is that called? I was profiled. That's what it was. I was profiled because of the license plate. Criminals were doing that in Florida, and they were attacking people who were coming from the airport because there's like only one road out. Mm-hmm. And then because all of the license plates back then all had these special plates, so you knew that it was a rent-a-car. So these tourists were actually being targeted, and some horrific stories about that. So anyway, I'm in favor of having, license plates that sort of blend in with everyone else so that you can't be profiled because of the license plate. Because it was absolutely not fair that I got pulled over for that. Was I speeding? Absolutely. But so was everybody else. So why am I the one that got pulled over?
I know, but Linda, I mean, what you just said caused me to ask this question, and that is, literally, because it might be a unique idea, but I'm going to ask, and that is, listen, can I get a license plate that says I'm blended and I'm not black? So, I mean, can I get a white license plate, Linda?
Trez, you can have anything you want. Whatever you want, you can have.
All right.
Anything you want, you can have.
That's not even a legitimate answer, Jeff.
So I got to take issue with this being against the police union. I am so pro-union. Now, are all unions good? I would have to say majority, yes. Okay. Are there bad apples in unions? Absolutely. But it was the union that brought this country the weekend. Okay. And people forget that. Okay. So I'm pro-union, and I understand the body cam issue completely. Do I think it would help police? Absolutely, because there are a lot of people out there who are liars. They just lie because they want to get a monetary benefit or some other benefit to the detriment of the police officer, and it's not right. However, if I were a police officer, would I want to walk around wearing a camera that's recording my every move every time I sneeze? What if I forget to shut it off?
No. Okay, fine. Jeff, Fernando, and then Adam, I'm coming to you. So Jeff, Fernando, you're on deck, and Adam, of course, you know I love you. I'm coming to you. So Jeff, please.
Well, I don't want to get off on the union issue too much. I would just say that when I lived in the state of Washington and I helped Rob McKenna get elected Attorney General, one of the biggest issues he had was a secret ballot in union elections, and I think that's really important, no matter what union you're talking about. So that's what I would say. I think that avoids a lot of corruption and threats and things like that. With regard to the police, I don't know what to say about Linda's argument on being pulled over for speeding in LA. Unless somebody pulled her out of her car and beat the tar out of her with a billy club, I'm not sure how it applies. My belief is I had a professor who his name was David Dominguez when I was in college. When I was in law school, he was my first year criminal law professor, and he grew up in the barrios in East LA, and he used to talk about how the police wouldn't come out when there were rumbles going on between two different races out there. They, apparently they would use certain epithets and say it's just a bunch of these people and those people beating each other's heads in. Why should we go and risk ourselves to save them? I want to be really, really careful that we don't disincentivize the police to give equal protection to people of every race. And when we're talking about profiling and all of this discussion, are we creating a danger that a police officer moving into a situation where perhaps there are two minorities involved saying, hey, I'm not going to have anything to do with that. I don't want to be accused of something. I think it's a real question now when people are kind of on a hair trigger to accuse cops of racism. So I do think in that respect, Adam has a reasonable point. I also believe there is a widespread perception in the Black community that they are targeted by the police. And we got to work on that. And frankly, I think one of the things that we aren't doing enough of is recruiting Black police officers. So, I think that's got to be part of the mix too.
Okay, Fernando, as a person of color, how are you, pro-cop person of color, how are you, hearing all this? And Adam, trust me, I'm coming to you. Adam, you have my heart. But Fernando, I need you right now. Please.
Yeah, here we go with your BS of person of color. Not a person of color. Let's drop the moniker and the bullshit and the BS. In terms of Linda, by the way, the reason you got pulled over was because you had an out-of-state license plate. And in my line of work, I have handled a lot of police brutality cases. I've gotten a chance to depose a lot of cops. I've friendly with a lot of cops. They go after the out-of-state license plate because they know if they give you a ticket, chances are you aren't going to fight it. You're just going to pay it and move on. It's a way to generate income for the state and the municipality. So there's an unwritten rule that you're supposed to kind of, if you see all your fellow Californians speeding, but you see the guy from Missouri speeding, take the Missouri guy, give that one the ticket because they're not going to fight it. You know, and then you get into all this other nonsense about maybe there's quotas or not. Nick brought up a point about you'll never see a white cop beating up a white assailant. Absolutely not. That does not sell ad revenue. That does not generate, that doesn't generate eyeballs to the screen. Nobody cares about that. Racism sells. You know, in Minnesota, where George Floyd happened, there is a case, and I think around the time when the shooting happened, either the conviction or the appeal was going on, there was an officer by the name of Noor who shot a white woman who put in a 911 call. She was Australian. Something tells me most people have no idea about that case. And that was kind of going on parallel with the George Floyd case. I believe it was his appeal that was going on because I think the trial was held a year before. Nobody knows except for Guidry. She's the only one nodding her head, right? I guarantee you most people just don't know about that. Why? That doesn't sell. That will never sell papers. George Floyd and his white friend who stood on his neck, which by the way is a police maneuver used the world over. In this case, I don't think it was warranted because he was already cuffed. It was just stupidity on his behalf. Won't sell. Floyd and the white guy sells. And the other thing is, in terms of body cams, when they first were being used, one of the reasons police officers didn't want them is that the department was asking them to pay for it. Okay. And it becomes an issue of funding in terms of body cams.
Now you're down in the budget weeds. Okay, I'm not down in the budget weeds. Adam, and then Guidry, and then Linda, and then because people. Adam, you, Guidry, you're on deck, and Linda, we're coming back to you because the audience apparently likes you. Adam.
Racism is despicable. What happened to George Floyd was horrible. But let me be clear and speak to the African American community. A very minuscule percentage of the African American community has negative encounters with police. In fact, African American police officers shoot African American suspects at a rate equal to or greater than whites. What we need is solutions, real solutions. My solutions are threefold. First, we should decriminalize drug use and focus on rehabilitation. Number two, we need to improve schools in poor communities. Number three, we need to emphasize the importance of two-parent families. Unless we deal with these solutions and tackle the tough issues that Guidry wants to avoid while she's opening the borders, then we're not going to really solve these problems. And as far as Guidry's points, all I would say is stop it, Guidry. Enough is enough. And Nick, as far as you go, I would deport you to Lithuania. And that's all I have to say. Let's really help African Americans with real solutions, not this nonsense.
All right, okay. So Adam's done running for office. Guidry, Linda, and then Nick, because Nick, you've been away for a while, and I've missed you personally. Guidry, Linda, Nick, please.
So I don't know. I think I'm in a wrong discussion, or the theme of this discussion is not the socioeconomic, cultural problems when it comes to the different economic status or race, but I think it is a police brutality. And when it comes to the police brutality, we need to come up with a direct and more tangible solutions. Not only, I love solutions that Adam is giving. However, I think it's really missing the point. And my solutions for this particular problem that we have is better training for the police officers, not training them as a military personnel, but training them how to communicate. I think it's number one, not shooting, but communication should be number one. I also think that the qualified immunity should be destroyed. I think it has been abused and overused. I think that body cameras will help to address it and the police officers to protect themselves. I think that police unions should go. The police unions actually were the ones that were pushing very, very intensely against body cameras. The police unions, there is documentation that have been aware of certain misconducts that were happening with the police districts. For instance, in Chicago, when there was a big scandal about torture, it was not the superior lieutenant, it actually were police unions. So I think there is a lot of inside information that I think needs to be cleaned up. And I'm very, very optimistic about the police reform bill that is being discussed. Hopefully Democrats, the Senate will approve it. We need 10 Republican votes, so we will see. But I do think that it addresses specific instances, specific problems, such as the chokeholds that have been used. There is no need for them. There are different methods to do what needs to be done, and the damage could be caused much bigger than actually the protection that.
Okay. Linda, Nick, and then I got to get Jeff back in. So, Linda, from Boston, Massachusetts. I mean,
Okay.
You guys know solutions like nobody.
About that speeding ticket, I didn't fight it, but I did find out that it went to warrant at one point, and I think after a certain number of years, the warrant disappears. So that's how that ended. People need police who look like them in their neighborhood. Okay. And the last time the police came to my house, when they were called, an African-American police officer showed up. And then the next time the police came to my house, there was also another African-American who showed up. So I don't think that that's the issue. I think what we need more of is civilian oversight, and I think most cities have that right now. I'm not sure what the small towns look like, but a lot of the cities have civilian oversight for the police right now. So I think we're moving in the right direction where the police do look like the community in which they serve. That's very helpful. And the civilian oversight. Let's see, I agree with, the decriminalization of drug use. But one thing that really bothers me is I just think the police are overburdened, to be quite honest with you. And when you start to go down that road that, they want all the police to carry these, I forget what they're called. It's like an EpiPen to reverse whatever, absolutely unacceptable. These people come out of these drug-induced states where they're on the verge of death, and then they're spitting at the police and they're screaming at the police about, you ruined my high. I think there's just way too much being put on the police right now, and I think these liberal ideas about, the police should be doing this and the police should be doing that, absolutely unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable.
Okay, Nick, hang on, because I got to go to Jeff, and then Nick, because we're at about that time. But Jeff, I want to hear from you, and then Nick, I'm going to be coming to you. So Jeff, please. Excellent.
Okay. Well, as far as decriminalizing meth and heroin, I have got to object. I think that is the absolute worst possible thing we could do for the Black community. And that shows that Adam's been in the ivory tower too long or something, because that's just nuts. I mean, I understand there are problems with our drug laws and the way they've been enforced, and they've been disproportionately enforced against African Americans. And I don't have any problem with it. In fact, the criminal justice reform was something that I favored. But come on, you're really going to decriminalize meth and heroin and crack cocaine? I mean, that is never going to be the solution. Yes. To help the African American community. And someone, one of our viewers wrote in that they wanted to send Nick to Gitmo. I'd be interested.
Lithuania.
As to what?
A viewer wants me to go to Gitmo, not Lithuania.
Well, I think there's somebody else.
Rehabilitation for drug offenders.
Isn't there a country that decriminalized drugs? Wasn't it Portugal a while ago?
I don't know, but right now, they want to. The audience wants to send Nick to Gitmo, and they want someone to kneel on Adam's neck.
I'm going to send them via FedEx to Lithuania.
I don't know if the audience member is a big fan of Adam. I might suspect that, but
Jeff, I'm going to sue
Anyway.
you for defamation. You know
Yeah,
that?
there's one person out there that wants to send Nick to Gitmo. Go figure.
Okay, well, Jeff, that was hilarious, and thank you for that memorable, touchable moment. And for the audience, somebody else wanted to kneel on Adam's neck, but we don't have time for that right now. What I do have time for is simply this. I want to say thank you, and can I get a big screen here? Because this is really a big moment here at the Lawyer's Den for the following reasons. Adam claims Georgia, but is really from New Jersey. Fernando from New York City that claims New York City, surprisingly. Okay. And then we have Nick from North Carolina, and I don't know what he's claiming down there, even though he's from Florida. Jeff, our true stalwart out there in Utah, giving us a West Coast representation. Guidry picking up the baton for Florida and bringing Lithuania with her. And then rounding out the top tier, Linda from Massachusetts. So also the home of John Adams 1 and John Adams 2. And so all I can say is that now we have a national program. So with that, Nick, I will turn it over to you because on behalf of IBM TV, International Broadcast Media, I'm Bill Tresvant, and I need Nick, you to land this plane.
I will land the airplane, and it was good to see Linda on board, who went to Whittier College, same place which Richard Nixon went to school. Right, Linda? So with that, we'd also like to thank everybody for this edition of Lawyer's Den, and we'll see you on tomorrow's program, but the airplane's about to take off. And Guidry goes, let's go look at something that took place 40 years ago. Who cares? Okay, that's political.